Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, which rule well and teach well in sincerity, taught us this truth. Shalawam to the Lord's hopeful elect, 144,000 men, as well as 1/3 men, women, and children, maintaining themselves, keeping the laws, commandments, and statutes to the best of their ability. All right, it's your brother Yahawashi Kazak back with another edifying street preaching through the name, through the power, through the glory, through the spirit of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Kakadash. That's the true name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. All right, so the name of the Father is Yahawah, which the world ignorantly calls Jehovah, or Yahweh, or simply God, or Elohim, or whatever they may have taught you, all right, in these crooked churches. Okay, ask your Baptist pastor, ask your Protestant pastor why he has never taught you the correct name of the Father at the end of the day. All right, the name of Yahawashi, that is the true name of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ at the end of the day. All right, so the letter J was created in 1524, understanding that by Gian Jacinio, all right, Giorgio Jacinio, okay, and then the name Jesus was created in the 1600s, right? As the bulk of the Southern Kingdom, which is Negroes, basically the Negroes as they would call them, but it would be the Haitians, the so-called African Americans, so-called Haitians, so-called Jamaicans, so-called Trinidadians was brought over here. The bulk of them was brought over here in 1619, all right, at the end of the day. Damn demon. You know, at the end of the day. So the name Jesus was whipped and beat into our people. Alright? So we spoke, before that we spoke even in West Africa, where we lived for a time period after 70 AD, when we fled from our homeland, which is Israel, geographically Israel, alright, in the so-called Middle East, which is really Asia Minor. Alright, that's all it is. Alright, so when we fled from there during 70 AD time period, we went into West Africa, and it was known as Negro land. Alright, and during that time we spoke Hebrew, and you know, as it went on through the years, we spoke an off-brand Hebrew. Alright, but we still spoke, and we still called on the name of Yahawah, alright, at the end of the day, and Yahawashi, okay, because Yahawashi came before that scattering was, all right, and even in before that, when we were scattered into Babylon, right, we were scattered into Assyria, the northern kingdom, and we were sent over here, all right, we took it upon ourselves to leave, and we're gonna get that, right? So you understand, it was multiple scatterings, right? But even over here, when the northern kingdom came over here, they spoke Hebrew. And as it dwindled down over the years, they spoke an off-brand Hebrew, and they called on Yahawah. Okay, the natives, certain natives still called on Yahawah, right? Even though they got bugged out, they worship the sun, the moon, animals, stars, etc., etc. Okay. Let's go to 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. Let this damn demon. If you ignore these demons, man, they go away. You know, this damn demon out here, just yelling, just plagued in the mind, man. So y'all may hear that through the live, but it's all good. This is 2nd Esdras 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of O'Shea, the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind had dwelt, right? And that further country is speaking about over here in the Americas, North America, South America, all right, all the way from Canada, all the way down to Chile and Argentina, okay? So the Northern Kingdom, which would be your Latinos and Native Americans, settled in this land, during that time period. And that would be around 750 BC to 700 BC. That time period, you had an influx of Northern Kingdom getting on ships and traveling over the Atlantic Ocean and coming into the Americas. Okay? Verse 42. That they might there keep their statues which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High Yahawah then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. So Yahawah allowed for them to make it through. He didn't, it wasn't no flooding of the earth. All right, some individuals like to say that. Nah, that's an off doctrine. Okay? This was the time period of 750 BC to around 700 BC. That time period. Okay? So this was far after the flood. All right? So it was just talking about Yahawah keeping the waters calm enough for them to make it through to their destination. All right? Hey, Shalawam, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Barak, Ahtham in your household. Now keeping it going. Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Asarif. Alright, and that basically means foreign land, different land. Alright, and that's what this place was. It was just a foreign land. It was a land that nobody dwelt in. Now, did we used to come over here? Yes, indeed. Alright, 2 Kings, the 10th chapter, around the 20th verse on downward tells you that King Solomon had employed Hiram, the Hamites, to come over here and get peacocks, apes, and peacocks would basically be, if you go into it further, it would be turkeys. So you had basically turkeys was being brought back over to Israel. Now, where do turkeys dwell? Turkeys dwell in the Americas. That's the only place. Turkeys do not dwell in Europe or Asia or Australia or none of those places. They only dwell in the Americas at the end of the day. Okay? Now, keeping it going, because let's go back. Verse 45, let's read it one more time. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Asarif. Now that's very important that it took them a year and a half. Because when King Solomon employed Hiram to come over here, it took them what? 3 years to go there and back. You divide that, that's a year and a half for each journey. So it takes you about a year and a half to travel that journey, right? To make it forth from Africa, right? West Africa to America. Doing the technology that they had back then. It took them a year and a half. Verse 46, then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders. Now who was left behind? Did all Northern Kingdom go? No. It would be some Northern Kingdom that could still be found in Israel and that was scattered abroad. That would be in Spain, that would be in Italy, that would be in, Germany, Scotland, etc. You have Northern Kingdom in Africa. Okay? But this is what it's talking about. The bulk of those tribes were sent to the Americas. So the majority of those tribes, you always have a little bits and pieces of individuals that stay behind and that don't go, right? And this is what we're dealing with. This is why I named the lesson. It's June. Ain't no microchips, Because this individual and the camp that he leads, right? They believe that we are supposed to go into all these different lands and teach all these other nations, when the bulk of the tribes are where? In the Americas. Okay? That's that American type spirit. That's that Edomite type vibration about you. You want to take care of everywhere else on the planet, but you can't take care of where home is. you can't deal with your own nation first. All right? And yes, it is other Israelites, and that is of our nation in these different lands. But once again, the point being is that the bulk of Israel is in North America, South America. All right? And as you can see with the influx of migrants coming in, a lot of Northern Kingdom is coming into America for judgment, for doom, or for destruction or salvation. All right, whichever Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi chooses for them according upon their deeds, right? So you shouldn't be focused with trying to get on a plane and flying to Papua New Guinea or flying to Kenya or flying to Nigeria or going to France, getting your ass kicked out the country and banned from France. You shouldn't be focused on these type of things, man. Do what Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi has required. Alright? And that's teaching in America. That's teaching where you were raised up at. Because you have individuals that may have been born in these countries, Nigeria, Kenya, etc., right? If the truth gets to them via the unicorn and they begin to teach this, then okay, that's perfect. Right? They know the land, they know the ways of the land, they're gonna go about it and they're gonna do it properly and correct. Yahawah has put on them their lot to teach in these lands. Right? At the end of the day. Now let's get, matter of fact, since we're talking about that, let's go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. This is Jeremiah. And verse 8. Jeremiah 50 and 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as the he-goats before the flocks. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations. Now, how did Babylon fall if you know your secular history? How did it fall back in the day? Right? The Medes came through. Was it many great nations with them? No. It was just the Medes, you know, and the Persians as well. I would eventually rule over that land. So it wasn't all these nations. No, you had Elam, you had you had the Hamites back in the day, you had Cush, you had Canaan, you had Phut, you had Mizraim, you had these nations. Egypt was still a nation, right? Like they were actually, they wasn't as strong as they used to be, but they had certain power. That's why the king of Judah tried to go to Egypt and deal with them so they could be a guard against the Babylonians, but that didn't work, right? So you didn't have Egypt going against Babylon back then, right? This is letting you know that it's talking about this point in time. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, which is America, an assembly of great nations from the north country. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Now, what are those arrows talking about? Right? The prophet Jeremiah saw it back in the day, right, as some arrows, because that was the warfare back then. Okay? Understanding that. So he depicted it as he saw it. We prophesy in part, right? Now we have a better, full, sure word of prophecy. All right, we have a better understanding of it now. We can see that those arrows in those great nations is BRICS nation, is you got the Moabites, you got China, right? You got Japan, you got South Korea, North Korea, all right? You got the Hamites, the Hamitic nations, okay, that are trying to rise up, Nigeria, and all these different type of nations, Guyana, you know, which a lot of them are Israelites, right? You got these other nations that are rising up against who? America. The entire planet, to be honest, man, is tired of her shit. Okay? And what's going to be the turning point, man? That MOTB and every other thing that she does, that she's being exposed. She's being made bare. According to the last chapter, Jeremiah 49 and 10. All right? She's being made bare. Esau. And all these other damn devils that are joined with her. But America, being the most stout, as the scripture said, the most prideful, the proudest of these Edomites, so-called YT man, will be took care of first. Then the Russians, as it said in Ezekiel the 38th chapter, who Yahawah is raising up, he's put a hook in his jaws, right? They will be dealt with afterwards, okay? The 10 horns, the 10 kings, NATO, the EU, they will be dealt with afterwards. It ain't gonna be no, since Russia joined with all these other nations and took out America, that they get a pass. No, ain't no damn passes, okay? Everybody will get served based upon their deeds, all right? Based upon your deeds. Russians, those are Edomites, okay? The UK, British, French, Portugal, Spain, those are Edomites. You think Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi forgot what they did and how they did it, and to the intensity that they did it? Man, Portugal was known as the worst with the slaves. Portugal was the worst. When you talking about slavery, they was the worst, right? You think they gonna get forgiven for that? No. And all these people had their hand in it. Okay? You talking about, man, you got zoos that show Israelites, Belgium zoos, where you had Israelites on display like they was animals. You think somebody gonna forgive that? Right? You tying a rope to our babies, month old, 2 years old, 2 months old, whatever, and you throwing them out in the swamp and calling them alligator bait. You think that's gonna be forgiven though? Alright, come on, man. You think the Most High, who judges all things, oh, just because that happened 200 years ago, 100 years ago, nah, he forgot about that. Nah, that's forgiven. You on old shit. You on old stuff. No, these deeds have to be paid. Okay? All these things have to be rewarded. Based upon what you did, you get rewarded for. Right? You eat, let's say you eat spicy food in your teens. You eat spicy food, 15, 20. Your grandma, your mama tell you, hey, it's messing up your stomach lining. You're going to have to pay for that in your 20s, your late 20s, your 30s. Because you didn't know how to control your diet. So you have to pay for that later on. Right? So what you do, you will be judged based upon, man. All right? Keeping it going. That expert mighty man that's talking about them nukes, those silos, how they can send the nukes up 20,000 miles per hour. They hit the atmosphere, the ozone, what you know is the firmament, right? And then they come down and they hit they target precisely. Nothing can stop it. I don't give a fuck about no Golden Dome. Okay, you can't stop nothing that's coming at you 20,000 miles per hour, man. All right, look at Israel's so-called Iron Dome. You couldn't stop Iran using, and they was using old technology. They was using old missiles. That's just the waste. That's just the throwaways. They was using throwaways on your ass, and you couldn't stop it. You got penetrated. Amalek, at the end of the day, right? So think about now what they have in the arsenal. Isn't Iran, the Persians, joined hand in hand with Russia, which is now, you know, God. Okay? Isn't they joined hand in hand? Russia said, you touch them, you touching us. Right? And it's vice versa. You touching them, you touching us. So they join hand in hand. Alright? They're standing as a guard for them and for all these other nations that were weak but now are being strong via the military weapons that are being given to them. Okay? The technology that's being given unto them. And their allies. They first have an economic interest, an economic alliance, right? But that also turns into a militarial alliance, all right? Judgment, no, you don't want to be on the other side of that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to take care of yourself. And at the end of the day, you got to pray to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. You can work out all you want. You can eat all the right stuff. But if Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi want to judge you, he's going to judge you. Okay? So it's about living correctly via the Spirit. It's about keeping the laws, commandments, and statutes to the best of your ability. We ain't telling you to be perfect. right? Because we know you can't keep them perfect. We can't keep them perfect. So don't ever sit up here and say, well, y'all was boasting on us. No, the hell we wasn't. All right? We keep what we can to the best of our ability. Tonight is the Shabbat. I got to go to work right after this. Going into the Shabbat. So I'll be working doing the Shabbat. Understanding that, right? Do I supposed to work doing the Shabbat? No. So we have to keep what we can keep at the end of the day, man. All right? Keeping it going. Verse 10, and Chaldea shall be a spoil that spoil her, shall be satisfied, saith Yahawah, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage. Real quick, let's get that. Let's finish this, and then I'm gonna get Micah 2:2. Because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Look at this nation, right? You have grown fat. You feel like you're the king of the crop. You're the best nation on this planet. That's what you believe when your doctrine is corrupt, your understanding is corrupt. But economically and with warfare, with the sword, you are blessed according to Genesis the 27th chapter, right? Starting at 38 going onward. You cried for that blessing. Oh Father, please don't you have another blessing for me? All right, so that's what it is, man. You have been, and I had a precept that came to mind. Let me get it. Oh, Micah 2:2. Let me get that.
I live in 11427.
Micah 2:2. And start at 1. Woe, destruction to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. So they do wickedness just because they can, right? Just because they can spray chemtrails in the air, they do it. Just because they can poison your food, just because they can teach you incorrectly in the education system and big pharma. They can give you these medicines that are damaging your body. They can sell you Tylenol and Advil that damages your liver. Like we said, it's going to catch up to you in the long run. You might have temporarily fought that headache, but your liver is going to have a headache in about 5 years, 4 years, because you never really addressed the problem. This is the thing about Jake these days, man. You want to let shit linger and you don't never want to address the problem in that sense, in every sense. All right? Disputes, handling problems, issues, things of that nature. It's like Jake has no backbone to talk things out. All right? At the end of the day. And they COVID fields and take them by violence and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, right? So these are the destroyers of the heritage, of our heritage. They put us in, they left us dead in the streets. They didn't put us in graves. They didn't tell us who we were. Israelites. They told us that we were Negroes. They told us we were African Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans, etc., etc. That's why our people is out here looking crazy, man. Because they have no understanding of who they are. Children of God. All right, at the end of the day. Let's go back to that Jeremiah. And let's read that one more time. This is Jeremiah 50:11. Again, because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage, because you are grown fat. What did they do? They destroyed our heritage and grew fat. America, Rome, right? Greece, right? Even Persia, even Babylon. Okay, these heathen nations. And predominantly these Edomites in their civilizations, which ain't really civil, because every time they got a civilization, it's war. How is that civil? Right? So, in all of their civilizations, it was built off the backbone of Jake. The Moors built up Spain and Rome and all of those lands, Scotland, etc., etc., which those are Israelites. Okay, Ireland. Okay, you got a lot of those places. Most of them, we built them up. Who was in Germany? Right? Jake was in Germany, man. Okay? Who was in these lands? You know, and going further back, it was Japhetic nations, because that's those lands. But Jake migrated to these lands during the diaspora, the scattering. Okay? So understanding that. Every Jake didn't come back to Israel when Nehemiah and Ezra came back. No. Jake was still in these lands, believing that they was these individuals. That's why you got Jake that are known as Scottish, Jake that are known as Irish. Okay? Jake that grew up in the French, grew up with the French, believe that they are Frenchmen.
No,
okay, at the end of the day. So Jake built these civilizations. America, these colonizers, when they came here, right? A lot of these buildings, such as the White House, such as the judicial house they got down there, a lot of that stuff in Washington, D.C., Jake built that up, man. The Dodger Stadium, Jake built that, okay? A lot of buildings in Philadelphia, Jake built that, all right? These colonizers take credit, but they didn't build these things. If you did, though, white man, build it again. You built it, though, build it again. Build it again, okay? You can't. You don't have it. You don't have the understanding. You don't got the knowledge, and you don't got the salt. Okay? You just came and claimed what wasn't yours, and that's what you do all over this land. That's why you destroy heritage. You steal a heritage. Alright? I'm probably gonna wrap it up soon, man. This shit is getting on my fucking nerves. Alright. This is verse 12, then we're gonna keep it going. Your mother. Hey, Shalawam, Shalawam. Oh, what up, bro?
What's up, bro?
How you been? Nah, you good, you good.
How you doing, God? How you doing, God?
Hey, man.
Blessings, God.
Man.
Blessings.
Shalawam, bro. That's a boy from, I got fired where he worked at, man. Hey, be safe, bro. That's my boy, That's crazy. Man, the place where I got fired at, he worked there. He already know the environment and the situation of how these damn devils is, man. You know. And he know he an Israelite. He know that too, but he wasn't 100% with it, but he know he an Israelite. All right, let's keep it going. Jeremiah 50:12. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Okay? So who is the mother that birthed Babylon? All right? The British. Okay? So these Edomite nations, take them as a whole, because that's where they came from, basically. Right? They birthed this place. Because you had the French over here. Don't forget about the Louisiana Purchase. You had the Portugal and the French in Canada. Okay, you had the Spanish that were ruling over South America and still rule over a lot of it. Right? You had all these other nations that came and took over this place, and America, or these Edomites that's over here right now, had to separate. Alright, they were birthed. So the mother that founded them is the British, these nations, man. You know? So they're gonna be sore confounded, which means they're gonna basically hate this place, which would lead me to Revelation, the 17th chapter. And that's very common. That's in their practice for Edomites to hate Edomites. Alright? For YT man to fight the YT man. As I said, every civilization they ever had was never civil because it was always war. If a brother could, Slaki, I saw a precept. I get that for you. You know, you could look it up. In America, the 249 years it's been established, I believe only like 30 years or 20 years it's been without war. So it started in war. It's always a great war in America. They love to war. Okay, it's never a time of peace. You know? So it's about 20 or 30 years where they were not at war. That's their nature. You blessed with the sword, what you gonna do? You gonna use it. They're blessed with the sword. This is how they get down. They love to fight. They don't care if it's Jake, if it's Elam, Moab, Ammon. Ammon got done dirty, man, when they made fire come down from heaven. All right? In Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay? They don't care. All them innocent people they took out. Which nobody perishes being innocent. Right? But those wasn't soldiers at the end of the day. So they don't care. Okay? Esau has that sword and he gonna swing it. He gonna use it. Right? So let's keep it going. Let's go to Revelation 17. Let's start at 14. These shall make war with the Lamb. Who is the Lamb? That's Yahawashi, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Who is with him? The elect, the remnant. Yahawah, Lord willing, we be of that number. Regardless if it's the 144,000 or the 1/3. I just want to make it in. That's the mindset of brothers, man. Okay? Of true brothers. Not these guys that's talking about, it's June. Ain't no microchips. Not those type of guys. Okay? You want to be raised up to a certain status and a certain level and get your fame and get your honor and all of that. When it's fake honor, it's temporary honor. These people don't love you, Nate. Alright? These people ain't really rocking with you. They niggas in fleshly bodies, man. Okay? And if Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi want to wake some of those individuals up, which we believe will happen, they going to leave and they going to come into the truth. Because you ain't got it over there. Alright? Those individuals is going to see you for all the lies that you teach. And every single brother that's with you. Alright? You will not be called chosen and faithful with Yahawashi. Keeping it going. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. America sits in over 80 nations, has over 750 bases. You can fact check it. All right? Over 80 nations, over 750 bases. That's the whore that sitteth on many waters. Okay? So, it's hard to go at her. But as we just talked about, you got all these nations that are going to rise up and go at her. Even her own kindred, which is NATO, the EU, the European Union. The mother that brought her forth will be sore confounded. Right? So the people that you was in league with are going to despise you. They're going to hate you. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked. Now what is that? First, economically shutting you off. Shutting off your pipeline, shutting off your supplies, shutting off every type of commerce that comes into your land. Making it where you can't breathe. This place is heavy import. Heavy import. This is why the world loves her in that sense, because she pays for all these goods to come in. This is why when Trump wants to put tariffs on other nations, they got fearful, because they like, man, that's how we making all our money, selling to this dumbass country. Because Americans, you are very foolish, and you buy things up like it's nothing. You buy Jordans up that's worth $15, $10, you buy them for $200. Now don't tell me that's not foolish and that's not stupid. Okay? Look at yourself. Right? It's all about that appeal. That's what Jake wants. Alright? They're not thinking. They don't have no forethought to think beforehand. To think about what's the end of them gonna be. Right? That's why Jake get caught up in financial fiascos, man. Spending all your money on this and on that, but you forgot about this bill. You ain't pay your bills? You doing this and doing that, you ain't paid your bills yet, Jake? Come on now. We're supposed to be kings and priests. You are in a rehearsal to move responsibly, to move with accountability. You can't move into that position if you haven't learned the basics. All right? The scriptures say, you know, how you going to judge this type of matter and that type of matter, loosely quoting, but you can't judge the small matters. You can't handle the small things. If you let a damn demon like this, right? If you let that affect you, well, you can't preach. You know what I'm saying? These things come, man. We in the land, we in the valley of the shadow of death, man. Right? It's plenty demons around us. But as you can see, you got this demon walking back and forth, but then you also had balance. You had a old brother that came up, you know what I'm saying, Shalawam. That was a beautiful thing. It's always a balance in things, so you got to look at things spiritually. Let's keep it going. So, and the 10 horns, NATO, the EU, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. The whore being America, they're going to hate her. And shall make her desolate and naked, economically shutting you off. Every type of way. They could pull the Wi-Fi. Y'all think of the Wi-Fi as what? No, man, the Wi-Fi is really, it's a cord under, I believe, the Baltic Sea, right? And it's either the Baltic Sea or the Mediterranean Sea. But that's really maintaining a lot of the internet. All right, that could get shut off. That could get cut or shut off. And then worldwide internet outage. Oh no, worldwide internet outage. What are we gonna do without the internet? These Americans, these Egyptians, man, you would go crazy if you don't have your Wi-Fi, if you don't got your Netflix, if you don't got your Amazon Prime. What are you gonna do? Right? we waiting on it, man. We can't wait for that day, man. Let me get this precept, Salaki. This is Zechariah 2 and 8. For thus saith Yahawah of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, for he toucheth the apple of his eye. What's the apple of Yahawah's eye? Israel. Alright? And more so, the elect. Okay, now all of Israel is his elect. But at this point in time, it's those that's right with him. That's doing right by him. Okay, his remnant. Alright? And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Now, what's that burning with fire talking about? That's talking about the ICBM missiles coming down and hitting America. Alright, burning her with fire at the end of the day. So, we're talking about over 200 million missiles coming down and hitting this place. It will be nothing remaining. Alright? Nothing remaining. Everything will melt. As the scriptures say, it will melt with fervent heat. Concrete will turn liquid. Entire bodies will burn. Your eyeballs will burn in the holes. The tongue that you're yelling with will burn in the mouth. Alright, your skin will peel off and burn. I was watching a brother yesterday on live, on TikTok live, Shalawam to the brother Adar Gabar, up there in the Buffalo camp, you know, and he was talking about Terminator 2, the vision that Sarah O'Connor had. Sarah Connor, whatever, you know, had. So that's what's going to take place when those nukes go off. It's complete destruction, complete desolation. All right? Nobody will, if you down here, nobody will survive. If you don't have Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, you will die. You will die a miserable death. That will be your judgment. For when the prophets was out here, you scoffed or you mocked. You didn't listen. You did bullshit ass activities your whole entire life. You will be judged upon your deeds. This is why so many demons that's on you. For you individuals, man. Verse 17, for power have put in their hearts to fulfill his will. So once again, going back to Ezekiel 30th chapter, he's put hooks in their mouth to cause them to do what he wants them to do. He's known as the father of spirits, right? So he can place a spirit in you to do something like that. Just how going back to Nate, we can understand Yahawah could have put a spirit in Nate to be a sifting agent, to bring these individuals to the forefront, to show who's wicked and who's going to follow behind a wicked ass doctrine. And then Yahawah could bring Nate into the fold at the end of times, right? Before that day. It's all possible. And you know, Elder Apostle Tahar say, you know, it possibly could happen. So it is what it is. We got to understand that. Now, if a man going off, we say a man going off. All right, we correct the doctrines because that's what we're supposed to do. Okay? That's going to the point of it being that Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is the ultimate judge. Now, we are going to be judges, and we do judge. All right? But at the end of the day, if Yahawah wants to pull somebody, it's Yahawah that pulls somebody. If he wants to throw somebody back, it's him that throws somebody back. We do not save you. We can't save you. Right? Reading that again. For power have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of power shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. All right? Who makes the most moves in NATO? Salaki. Wait a minute. Who makes the most moves in NATO? If they don't say it's right, it's not gonna happen. America, right? I saw it was an account. It was a scenario basically that happened, a situation where Germany wanted to do something, but America wasn't gonna vote for it, so Germany couldn't do it. So if America doesn't get that say, it's not gonna happen, right? America has the most power, this horde, and that's going back to what? That military strength. That's going back to these sitting on many waters. As we said, 80 countries, over 750 bases. Could hit you with missiles, could hit you. America loves to go into a country and sabotage them from the inside out. They'll come to your country, produce rebels, insurgents. All right, ISIS was created by America. Al-Qaeda, created by America. Osama bin Laden, created by America. Right? So they use these instruments, these weapons of warfare, because that's all it is, to go into a country that disagrees with them and dismantle them from the inside. Right? Now I'm going to begin to wrap up. So let's go to Revelation, the 13th chapter, and address the main subject of it's June. Ain't no microchips, right? How can you even say that? Because even at the time that dude said it, it was microchips. Okay, it was sea-hips on the earth. It's been sea-hips on this planet really since the 80s, man.
How you want to fuck? All
right. First and foremost, they was using them to put them in animals. Well, you had tracking devices. You had little, as small as a grain of rice, they would put in your animal. So if you lose your animal, they could track your animal. But it wasn't no sea-hips, though. Okay, over time, they have evolved. It's a sea-hip in my phone. It's a sea-hip in, you get your credit card. It's a sea-hip in that. In a form of fashion, it's sea-hips in your microwave, your refrigerator, your car. Okay? You have all these different forms of, all it's called is, what's the proper term for it? Salakia. I used to know it off the top of my head too. But basically, a sea-hip, it might come to me. But basically, they're all over, man. Okay, and who produces the most? Taiwan. This is why China continues to bully Taiwan, showing their power, their military might. Eventually to take them over. That's what they want to do. Now, when that time to move in happens, it's gonna happen, right? And when that happens, everything is gonna happen like that. All right? You ain't gonna have Eve out here in the streets running their damn mouth. Eve ain't, nah, Eve gonna be scared to be out here in the fucking streets. Okay? You would get unalive or you would get snatched up. The times that we talking about to take place. Alright? Out your fucking mind. Okay, Revelations 13 and 15. As a matter of fact, let's just get it all. Let's start at 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now, how does America move? What's those 2 horns? How does America move? Democrat, Republican. It's going back to Rome. The what is it? The Palladians and the Patricians, I believe. I could possibly be saying it wrong. If a brother know, he could correct me. All right. So basically, what I'm meaning is you had 2 different parties that were making these decisions, but they truly move in one. Ain't nothing really no decision. Okay. They may show a form of opposition to one another, but it's all planned out at the end of the day. Nobody is elected, everybody is selected. Jake, when you start understanding that, man, a lot of other stuff starts making sense to you. They moving the strings on these puppets. But no, my vote counts. Man, Eddie Murphy, back in the 90s, was on, what's that dude name, man? Who used to have a show? Black dude, Jake dude, man. It's right on my tip of my tongue, man. Dang. But anyway, it's a Jake dude. He used to have like a little fade, high top fade, and he used to have a show. You know, it'd come to me, maybe. But Eddie Murphy went on that show, and they was talking about voting, and he was like, "Do you vote?" And Eddie Murphy was like, "No, I don't do none of that, man." Okay, it's some people behind the scenes that's moving the strings. Basically, that's what he said, and he said, "Read your Bible." Yahawah, remember that I taken it, I posted as a short on YouTube. Alright, so he basically said, your vote does not matter. Arsenio Hall, I believe so. I believe that's his name. Yeah, Arsenio Hall. I believe so, right? So he was on that show and he told him, your vote does not matter, man. I ate the water. Yeah, that's it, bro. Yeah. So your vote does not matter. You know? Eddie Murphy knew this back in the 90s. Now, yeah, he bugged out now, doing whatever, but he knew back then he was trying to tell individuals, your vote does not matter. He said, it's people behind the strings, some very powerful people that are picking everybody, all right? And it's been countless times where individuals have said that, all right? At the end of the day.
Like now yourself, nigga, or other niggas.
Keeping it going. And he spake as a dragon. That's going back to him having war in his mind, right? He talks to you smooth, but really he's moving in a way to unalive you. Okay? So when they come, they coming. They not playing around. Esau not playing around, right? I remember when I got fired at my previous job, I didn't even see it coming, right? My boss, he used to come in, ask me, oh, you got a new house? How's the house? How's the family? How's your wife doing? Knowing that, man, you know, things had happened. He was trying to be considerate and shit. Knowing in the back of this nigga's mind, he was planning on letting me go. But you asking me about my family and shit. That's how they move. That's how Edomite moves, man. Okay? An illusion. That's why we tell you, Jake, ain't no such thing as a righteous Edomite, bro. They all hate you. They all despise you. None of them actually like you. Yeah, Bob and Tim may play like it's cool, but they hate you and they hate your guts. This whole entire planet knows who we are. Okay? And even if they don't know in the sense of that, they're ignorant, their soul knows, man. That's why when you walking down the street, a white woman walking, she's scared. They know we are God's chosen people, man. And we will take over this place. Not this place, because we don't want this bullshit ass nation, but we will eventually rule this planet once again, as we did under King David and King Solomon. And that was a tease, right? Keeping it going, verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast, Rome, the Roman Empire, before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Now, what's that image? It's a likeness. It's the ways. Don't you keep Christmas? Don't you keep Easter? Don't you keep Valentine's Day? What do these things go back to? The Feast of Bacchus, right? All these ancient ceremonies that they got from other nations, because no Edomite, they're not even original. You took these things from the Canaanites, from the Babylonians, from the Persians. You took all their customs and cultures. Even that Catholicism, you took that from the Canaanites. Messing with kids, you took that from the Canaanites. Sacrificing your kids. Okay? At the end of the day. So, these are the same practices that the Roman Empire was doing. Now, who brought these things to be in our culture, to have Jake doing these things? Constantine, which was a wicked Jake. He integrated the truth with paganism. All right, this is why you got, you know, certain family members, and all of our families, I mean, let's be honest, all of our families, that be like, Christmas, December 25th, that's Jesus' birthday, right? We don't even celebrate birthdays, man. Where it say that in the scriptures? That's Hamashiach's birthday. Where does it say that we're supposed to celebrate this wicked flesh? All right? Now, we may keep a year. You know a year that you passed, because Yahawashi knew he was 12. When he was 12, he became a man, right? So that's letting you know that you keep the year. But you're not obsessed with this damn flesh, okay? Really what we doing is counting down the days that we get up out of here. I see a prophecy pass. Okay, I know I'm one day closer. I wake up every day, I'm one day closer. This prophecy passing right here. This passing right here. Okay, where that MOT be at? That's what we doing. We hastening the day. We ready to get up out of here. I'm not looking forward to, hey y'all, Shalawam. I'm not looking forward to my next birthday. Hopefully we up out of here before that comes, so we can get up out of slavery, man, and be in the kingdom and rulership. All right? Once again, that deadly wound, the Roman Empire was what? Obliterated, destroyed, took out of the way. Okay? And then Jake started ruling with the Byzantine Empire and all these different, you know, little regions that they ruled. Moorish Empire, all right, the other places that we ruled. All right. Verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. All right. What is that talking about? The atomic bombs, which came down. Okay. Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and destroyed those areas. It's talking about that. Now it's talking about hydrogen bombs and nuclear bombs that they have now that will destroy all of this and shut up all that noise that we hear. Right? That's irritating to us. These 2/3 Jakes, y'all like little mosquitoes in our ear, man. And if we could swat you without going to jail, we would unalive the fuck out of you. Okay? Know that. The way that Eve is out here on these streets, as y'all can hear it in the background, man. It's annoying, right? But that's what we have to endure. That's part of enduring. We have to endure these situations. All right? To watch out, and it hurts to watch our people in such a low state. Destroyed, spiritually and mentally. Destroyed, man. They don't even know that they messed up. It's embarrassing, right? Let's keep it going. So he making fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's also talking about these laser weapons that he has now, which the UK admitted, which they allowed him to come down on Chile, Texas, out here producing wildfires. All right, doing those fires down in LA, also in Maui. You know, they've used these laser weapons. All right, so that's another thing that they have. Now keeping it going. And deceiveth, verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. All right, worshiping the likeness, once again, going into the cultures of the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, these cultures that our people are now worshiping again. Hey, what's some things? Sororities and fraternities. That's the cultures. You're worshiping their image again. You're over here, Beta, Phi, Kappa, Zeta, I don't know. Okay? You're doing all that bullshit. What are you doing? You're pledging an oath to a false god that doesn't even exist. Okay? And yeah, you may be promised a better job. You may think, well, this is black unity, brother. No, y'all are unified under the damn white man. It's called a Greek fraternity. It's Greek sororities. It's Greek. But you think it's unity amongst your people. No, y'all all unified together to get under a devil. And I don't want to be beside y'all motherfuckers, man. All right? And it messes up your mindset. All right? I got, you know, I ain't gonna call her out, but I know this certain individual that pledged that shit. And her mindset is all fucked up to the point where she wants to jump in my business, in my family life, when she ain't even got her own shit. That's another thing with you, Jake. All right? Mind your fucking business, man. Stop being busybodies. What that man and his woman does, you have no fucking say-so in it. The scriptures talk about. Don't look on what another man does with his maid. All right? But you worldly individuals, you have been taught through Christianity to jump in somebody else's business, to butt your nose in somebody else's business when that's not your fucking place. All right? Keeping it going. This is verse. And let's talk about those miracles. Let me see. I'm going to check my time. I got about 10 minutes. All right? Those miracles which is coming with the sea hip as well. Allowing people to walk, allowing people to see. All right? Neuralink technology. Okay? Where you're giving people vision that will blind their entire life. But you're giving them that through artificial technology, computer chips and things of that nature. All right? Keeping it going. Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be unalive, killed. Right? And that ain't talking about the prophets. Okay? We're going to be protected. Now, yes, some brothers could be martyred. At the end of the day, that's possible. And we understand this. All right? That's a condition of the battle. Right? But hey, majority, I believe Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is going to protect. And he's going to raise up brothers. He's going to, you know, send brothers here and send brothers there and take them out of the path of danger. Now, will it be 15-minute cities? Yes, indeed. Will it be famine in the land? Yes, indeed. But you also got to bring Isaiah 65 and 13. All right? My servant shall eat, my servant shall drink, my servant shall rejoice. When these other individuals, you're going to get the opposite. You're going to be thirsty. You're going to feel famine. You're going to feel sorrow. Because you denied Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi and his word. His men. What's the voice? Yahawashi. Now, how is the voice speaking? Through the men that he has raised up. If you deny the voice, you deny the words. You deny the message. Right? Finishing it up. And he calls up, and that's letting you know every individual that denies the image. So it's going to be so much pressure on an individual. Let's say an individual is not rooted in the spirit. They're not rooted in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And they're telling you you're not going to be able to get paid because you're not taking the sea hip. They're going to immediately Well, let me get it then. I got to take this to go in the grocery store. I got to take this to go see a movie. I got to take this, right? It's carnal. You would rather be complacent and live in this society. All right? I got 15% on my phone. I'm about done. You would rather live and be complacent in this society, joining hand in hand with Satan, right? The wicked shall not go unpunished. You would rather live in this society than lose your life. If you knew the scriptures, you lose your life, you coming right back. You're coming right back in the everlasting body if you was with Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. So why wouldn't you want to lose your life, man? This is nothing. We have been regenerated many times before this. Okay? Verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads. M-A-R-K. So rich and poor. It doesn't matter your celebrity status. It doesn't matter free or bond. It doesn't matter you in the prison cell or you out here so-called free, because you're not free. Alright? So it doesn't matter, regardless of your status. Alright? The fact is, you gonna deny Satan, or you gonna deny Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi? You pick. Because you deny, hey, take it. Nah, I'm good. Alright, handcuffs, FEMA camp. Right? Or you might just be unalived on sight. You don't know. Okay? They put that pew-pew to your face. Alright, nah, I'll take it. You can't be like that. You can't change. Now, the individual that we was talking about, saying it's June, ain't no microchips, right? He's setting you up for the okie doke. He's not preparing you. So in your spirit, if you're in that congregation, you're automatically thinking, it ain't gonna be no C-hip. It's June. It ain't no microchips. These guys keep talking about a C-hip. That's what he's setting you up to think. When if you was actually diligent, you would look it up and see. You got the Amazon One situation, Amazon Go stores. You got the Whole Foods stores where individuals are just swiping. You have the Neuralink situation. You have this individual that brothers talked about recently, you know, with the whole thing in his head. And he's able to control his mouse, his computer, from his thoughts. But it ain't no C-hip. Get the fuck out of here, man. Alright? It's been here. It's been here. You are just so damn gullible, or you're teaching with a purpose to confuse. Alright? Finishing it up. And that 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding, the remnant, the elect, count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 306. Alright? Also going into the barcode system. Going into the digital system, the CBDC. Right? Systems that have been set up for this charagma to exist. Okay? Now I'm going to end it right there, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope this has been edifying. Let me check any precepts. Hey, the water, let me get that Jeremiah for you. Jeremiah 51 and 57. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains, and their rulers, and her mighty men, and shall sleep a perpetual sleep. And not wake, saith the king, whose name is Yahawah of hosts. And Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. You know, Yahawashi is placed into that rulership. And that's a beautiful thing. We worship Yahawah. Why Yahawashi?
Water?
Alright, at the end of the day.
Yeah, water.
That's beautiful, man. You know, I hope this was an edifying street preaching. To all y'all that listen. Alright. Get a demon some airtime. Alright, man, we're going to turn to the right, face Jerusalem. All praises be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Zakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone that rule well and teach well, and sincerity taught us the truth. Shalawam, shalawam to the Lord's elect, to Until next time, as always, Kwam Yasharahla and a Baba Bar to this wicked kingdom. May this bitch fall soon, man. Shalawam.